Center for Transformative Teaching and Learning at St. Andrew's Episcopal School is essentially the research and professional development arm of the school that has a very intentional focus to link the growing body of research in mind, brain, and education science to how teachers teach and how students learn. And we do that by training 100% of our faculty in the research and then giving our students directly research-informed strategies to make them more efficient, confident, and hopefully independent learners.
There's always amazing research about what makes great teaching. It's not making it into classrooms. And so St. Andrews created the CTTL to bridge that gap, to put great high-quality information in the hands of teachers to make them even better teachers.
The field of mind-brain education science is not new, but certainly its application to the school and classroom is somewhat new.
It's a mixture of cognitive psychology, draws from education theory and from neuroscience. It's whatever it takes. What helps this question of what helps students learn? What should great teaching be?
The CTTL's biggest work is helping people to understand how the brain works, how it learns, and how we best educate the brain. What St. Andrews gave me through the center was the way to connect the heart and the brain work, and it's so deeply important. What we know and we don't often think about is what's it like for a student who has more than books in their backpack to carry around, who are trying to navigate the politics of identity and take the math test at the same time. And are we equipping them with strategies to feel safe on an identity level so that they could be a student like everybody else? And our hearts compel us to let our brains sort it through.
Oops. Oh, they're happy on the bottom.
That's better though.
We continually look at research that's being generated from the strongest researchers and research universities, not only in the United States, so not surprisingly on that list, Harvard, Stanford, University of Virginia, Johns Hopkins. And that's used for a variety of opportunities. One is to discuss research-informed learning strategies.
I am currently taking 5 APs, which is said to be rigorous. I'm also a diehard runner, so I love running on the cross-country and track teams. I also really enjoy cartooning. Additionally, I'm on the student honor board.
The highest achieving students are not efficient students at times. And could we use research around memory, feedback, engagement, spacing of work to make them more efficient so they can take those 4 or 5 APs. They can be in the jazz band, they can play a sport, but they actually can go to bed at a reasonable hour.
We just finished up a study around the relationship between well-being and motivation and student achievement. And we found that you don't have to choose between a school that is rigorous or a school that cares for the well-being of your student. You can have both.
I find that my teachers, not only do I know them personally, but I enjoy their lectures to the point where I'd sit in on them outside of school in my free time if I could. And that's what keeps me going through a rigorous schedule.
For St. Andrews students, the day begins at 8:30, and that is atypical of many high schools throughout the country. And we really think that's critically important because it aligns very well with what we know about research in the adolescent brain. We know teens need to sleep, and we know they function better when they get more sleep. I would say no high school in the United States should start before 8:30. The great opportunity every student has is when they walk into the next class period, because the brain is primed for novelty. So the challenge we've put forth based on research to our faculty is, how can you engage students differently when they walk in the door?
But they're going to actually pull bacteria from your throat.
One of the biggest changes in my teaching is that I'm no longer afraid to fail. I'll try literally anything at least once. And not to be intimidated by that is definitely part of, I think, probably what makes me better at what I'm doing and better than I used to be.
I'm looking for another one. Jalen.
There's constantly thinking about how can we reach these students? How can we help these students? How can I do it even better than I did last year? What's some research that will help me?
10-minute breaks is going to be part of our new daily schedule. Looking at research behind cognitive load, cognitive transitions. We were very curious about that research and how it might look if students had 10 minutes to reset, to recharge their battery, as opposed to feeling like cattle and moving just from class to class.
Yes, you can observe that here there's bigger space, here it's smaller, right?
From the beginning of St. Andrews, it was conceived as a school where relationships really mattered. And when we started this research study, we didn't anticipate this finding that relationships underpin this correlation between achievement and well-being.
This school reflects the commitment to actually knowing each child, knowing them as people and as learners, as who they are today, equally importantly, seeing their potential so we know what they can become, and then helping the students themselves see that.
The community feeling at St. Andrews is kind of, you don't get it in other places. The community you get when you come here is really just one full of love and care, and you can tell you're cared about when you're here.
A lot of the teachers here, they'll do anything for you, and I think that's a big motivation factor for a lot of the kids here. It's they don't want to let their teachers down, they don't want to let their coaches down, so they work harder.
What was one of the great sort of epiphanies was thinking equally differently about how we coach student athletes as much as how we teach them in the classroom. On average, coaches give 8 new instructions to their athletes at a halftime, which is about 10 minutes. 1, 2, 3. An active working memory on most people only can hold sort of 4 to 6 pieces of new information. So we talk a lot about how coaches should be giving information.
We have multiple modalities of sharing information about plays, for example. We'll explain it to them on the court, we'll have them go over the playbook, we'll have them draw up the plays, we'll have them tell us what they're supposed to do in the plays, and we've seen them really be able to intimately know what they're supposed to do on the court.
What does good homework look like? What did we discover? From the homework study, if there were 3 things from that homework study that we discovered, what did we discover?
Quality over quantity.
Yeah.
Capitalize on class time before assigning excessive amounts of homework. Keep the interests of the student outside of school in mind so that they can live a balanced lifestyle.
Having students at the center of the center's research work has been a game changer for us, and it's been part of our DNA.
In what way are we using this note-taking skill to do that? Christos.
When people ask why the focus on research, I say because students deserve it.
Perfect.
Research tells us, robustly supported, that the factor in our control that makes the greatest difference to student achievement, to improve student learning outcomes, to close the achievement gap, is high quality teaching.
I used to want to know everything before I started something, and now I'm willing to let it unfold. And I'm willing to let it go someplace that I didn't imagine it going before we started.
And so one of the really amazing things is to see this increasing global interest in the work of the CTTL. As a leader in this field, able to take the research and put it into forms that are actually usable by their teachers. It's been an amazing journey for the CTTL.